Thank you. And I told you, John, you wouldn't be able to get it done in under 2 minutes. 2:41, timed it. For those of you that know John, you know that he is not brevity is not his speciality. So let's see. So before I start, be honest, how many people here have heard about our Open Data BR portal or our transparency efforts? Okay, so remember those hands that are up. I'll come back to that. So, as John mentioned, over the past 10 years, we've launched several digital initiatives focused on transparency and improving efficiencies in government operations. Why that's important, the public trust. We want to make sure that we're sharing authoritative data, and we want to inspire innovation. And it's not just Eric or Eric's department that is pushing this. Mayor Brum and the council actually established a resolution creating a policy to make all the data that we collect available by default. These initiatives are also driving internal efficiencies and effectiveness within city parish. If we are more efficient internally with our processes, then you, the public, should see better services. That's our goal. So a bunch of milestones up there. Starting off with our Open Data BR portal. What Open Data is, it's the idea that public data should be freely available and accessible to everyone. So at City Parish, we collect a massive amount of data. Crime information from the police reports, permit data, 311 requests. Is that data ours, City Parish? No, not really. It's your taxpayer money that's funding all of these services. So the way we approach it is that the data is actually yours, so you should have access to it. Since the launch of Open Data BR in 2015, City Parish has reached many milestones. As we see here, we have open budget, and open checkbook, and open neighborhood, some GIS improvements. And now, most recently, we focused on a lot of citizen engagement. And I have several slides here, and it's a lot of information that we're going to cram in here, so I'm going to speed through these a bit. Open Data BR was really the foundation of our transparency efforts. It's a website that includes raw data and tools that allow you, the public, to view and present data in a format that's useful. So currently we have 53 data sets in Open Data BR, another 183 federated GIS data sets. I'll hit on those in a minute. 35 charts that we've made. Over 9 million rows of data exists in Open Data BR. So here's an example, basically a spreadsheet in which you can then aggregate data, sort data, filter data, zooming in on exactly what's important to you. You can also, in the portal, create graphs, other visualizations, so bar graphs, pie charts, can even do some mapping with it. On all of our pages, all of our data sets, sorry, we have what's called a primer page. And what that page does, it gives you all the information about that data set. So we don't just want to put data out there. We want to make sure you understand what that data is representing. So there's a description on the entire data set. There's descriptions on the fields. There's links to other resources that use that data, such as dashboards or maps. And here we see the top 15 most accessed data sets in Open Data BR, adjudicated properties, Baton Rouge crime incidents, building permits, traffic incidents, 311 requests for services. That's our top 5. When we started Open Data BR in 2015, the Baton Rouge Police Department crime incidents were one of the first data sets that we included. Shortly after launching, we were, someone from the media had asked, that's great, but you really need the sheriff's office data as well to get a bigger picture of the crime in the parish. Agreed with that, and we've been working through a couple different system upgrades and other priorities, but as of last month, the sheriff's office data, crime incident data, is also included in Open Data BR. So that's leading us to have more of a holistic view of the crime incidents in the parish. And we will be reaching out to Baker, Zachary, and Central because they have their own data as well. The intent is that we know that crime doesn't follow a city line, right? It's not going to stop just at this city line. If I live in Baker and there's crime going in across the city line in Baton Rouge, it's going to affect me. So what we want, ultimately, we want all the crime incidents across the entire parish so that we as city parish leaders and other community leaders can make better decisions, and then you as the public can truly see what's going on in the parish. We also, on Open Data BR, you can download the data in the different formats there. So if you prefer working in Excel, you can download that data into Excel. If you're a programmer, you can actually connect directly into Open Data and interact with the data that way. So I mentioned that Open Data had a mapping functionality. When we launched, we realized that it was not very user-friendly. We also know that different people consume data differently. So maybe spreadsheets aren't your thing. My previous role in City Parish was the database administrator, so I love the data in Open Data. I can do all sorts of things with it. But really the public, maybe you just want to see what's going on around your neighborhood. Open Neighborhood BR is how you do that. So it's the same data that exists in Open Data BR, but in Open Neighborhood BR, we have it in a very easy-to-use mapping interface. So here's a zoomed-in feature. You see the pins there, the blues, the yellows, and purples. It's a little bit hard to see from far away, but if you click on those pins, you get additional information. So what that's showing up there, that pop-up box there, I clicked on an electrical permit for some address, and it was to replace an electrical meter box, I guess, on the outside of the house that was damaged in a weather event. So you can zoom in on your address and see, pick and choose, because you can turn it on or off. Are you interested in crime incidents? Are you interested in 311 requests? Let's see, Brian's here. Brian Haldane, he loves looking at whose garbage has been missed in his neighborhood. So, but you can see that, and there are a bunch of those dots out there. We realize that. You can also create heat maps through there, so you can see where the hot spots are. So this is more if you're interested in kind of zoning in on certain problem areas. Can also turn in on different filters, so you can filter by the neighborhoods, by zip code, and by council district. What's really cool about the platform is you can set up alerts. So instead of going to the website every day, you can set up an alert, free account, and then basically you tell it what radius you're interested in. So a quarter of a mile radius, maybe half a mile or a mile around a certain address, and you'll get emails either daily, weekly, or Monday anytime one of those pins show up. So now I don't need to go to the website to see if, okay, has there been a new crime incident in my area? Now I'll get an email about it daily or weekly or monthly. This here, we don't even print it out, or I as a director don't receive it anymore, is the City Parish Budget Book. So over 500 pages. If you're in the financial industry, accountant or whatnot, this is your type of nighttime reading. For the rest of us, no go. So what we did, we taken the information in this book and put it into an easy-to-use portal here called Open Budget BR. So we have the revenue budget and the expense budget. And now my eyes are going to fail me. I have to go off of memory. What we're looking at here, so I clicked on, let's see if we can get this here, Open Expense Budget. And so now it lists the different funds that we have. You can show the different departments and such. So right there, the general fund, and I forget, is the biggest component of the budget. I forget what the number is. From there, inside the general fund, so you can keep clicking to navigate deeper and deeper. So inside the general fund, the police department makes up the largest component of that fund. And then this is my department, Information Services, and you can see there that the largest bar at the top is for salaries of employees, and then the next bar underneath that are the maintenance and services for all of our hardware and software that we maintain for the city. So that was the budget side. What we also have is open checkbook BR. So the budget is what we're supposed to spend during the fiscal year. Checkbook is our actual spending. So this is updated daily with any invoice that we're putting into our system. So here again, same look and feel. It defaults by department, so we see that environmental services has the largest chunk of expenditures there. This is the IS department again, because I don't like to pick on other departments. This is mine. I think the very first item is that repair and maintenance. Again, that's all of the services that we have to keep in place. But what's really cool is that besides the charts, you can switch to this checkbook view up here, and now you're actually seeing a checkbook ledger for the city parish. This is just my department here because I filtered down, but what you're seeing is the vendor that we paid to, how much, the date that we paid, the different category. So complete transparency from the budget, what we're supposed to spend, what our budgeted spend is, all the way to the checkbook, which is the actual spend. So I'm going to transition now to the EBR GIS program. So are there any realtors in the room? So what is y'all's common saying? My mother-in-law was a realtor. Location, 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 right? So GIS, Geographic Information Systems, it's all about location. So 30 years in the making there. We've had a GIS program for 30 years. The key to this is that the data is very mature, lots of it, and extremely accurate. So data about property, the lots, waterways, roads, much more. The GIS website here is the starting point, and it'll take you through the different portals that we have. GIS open data, so you may ask, why do you have two different open data sites? It was unfortunate and an unfortunate necessary or necessity. The GIS data, since it's so location specific, it was not properly served in Open Data BR. So this open data site is what's called a spatial open data site, and it's made for that location-based data. 183 map layers, so that could be streets, street center lines, it could be the lots, it could be municipal boundaries, schools, all of those different types of data. Similar to Open Data BR, you can download it to Excel file or one of the GIS type data files, and you can also connect directly to it if you have, your company has that GIS software that can tie into and use GIS data. The GIS portal is where all the dashboards and maps and web applications live. Over 102 million lifetime views on the data that's in here. We have a gallery that shows the more common maps that we have. So here's an example. Here's our drainage and stormwater map. So it has everything about the watersheds, flood zones, also has our stream gauges, which are used in emergency preparedness whenever we have a weather event. I know it's been a drought, so not so important right now, but when we had the flooding issues in the past, the EOC, we have those stream gauges up so we can monitor how those rivers and streams are either rising and falling. This is probably our most accessed map. It's the Planning and Land Development app. anything you wanted to know about a piece of property is here. Zoning, UDC, owner information. It's overwhelming at the start, but from realtors to developers to just the public interested in what's around them, they're all going to this site. So imagery, we use a lot of aerial imagery in operations at City Parish, so the GIS team uses it to determine building footprints and map terrain features. The assessor uses it for assessments. Emergency preparedness uses it during an emergency event. We update our imagery twice a year, it's almost unheard of for a municipality to have that accurate of imagery. What you're looking at here is the Amazon complex at Cortana from August of this year, so just a few months old. Important to note that you can create maps on our GIS portal and use this imagery. It has 3-foot resolution, so I zoomed in, and that was one of the corners there. You can see a bike rack kind of in the middle and some street poles there. So very high quality data. We also have a slew of dashboards. So what you're looking at here is our ARP dashboard. So this dashboard was really put together to show accountability by showing what projects were funded by federal ARP dollars, along with the status of those projects. So being transparent again with the money that we're receiving. This is our public crime trends analysis dashboard. It shows you the trends in crime over the past 28 days to the average number of calls for 28 days over a 6-month period. So again, trends. Green is good, meaning it's going down. Red, not so good, meaning it's increased. Again, this data is updated daily. We also have a series of lookup tools. So maybe you're not you want a quick and dirty way to just look up information about a certain piece of property. You can find census data, council district data, jurisdiction data, and our most popular one is the property data lookup. So you put in an address, you get over 40 different fields, including subdivision, zoning, census tract, school district, voting precinct, Louisiana House and Senate district, your trash collection days, all of that is on here. Again, another popular tool for the realtors out as they're helping somebody find a house if they're interested in a certain school area or not. So it's not enough for us to simply make these tools available to the public. We want to make sure that they know how to use them and use them properly. So
Citizen Data Academy.
let me skip that. So what the Data Academy is, it's very short videos, usually about 5 to 10 minutes on specific content in our different open data and GIS portals. So now, instead of watching a 2-hour presentation when all you wanted to know was how do I filter data in Open Data BR, you can just watch that video and take 5 minutes out of your time instead of trying to find that content in the 2-hour video. It's broken into 4 different modules: the introduction, community planning, living in Baton Rouge, and then city parish government. We have 25 videos so far. They exist on the website as well as YouTube, and 34,000 views to date. And that's so that open data policy that I mentioned at the very beginning, it also required that we provide an annual report to the council. Here's some of the stats from our 2022 report. So in 2022, we really set sights on embedding data in every facet of city parish operations. We had 13 new data sets that we added last year. We began establishing practices for data collection, so standardizing on how we collect the data. We started training city parish employees on how to better use the data in their day-to-day operations. And all of this continues to lead to increased government efficiencies and promote transparency across all the departments. So before, maybe about 2 years ago, it was really myself and Warren that was pushing this effort. But seeing the need to continue down this road, I was able to restructure budget neutral a section in my department to become the data analytics and performance section. So their focus is now those three core areas. They're not just focusing on transparency, but they're looking at more now on the analytics to help departments make better decisions, and then the performance to grade the departments on those decisions that they're making. So here's some of the dashboards and information that we have tied to that. This is the blight inspections dashboard. So previously, we determined blight location by using 311 calls only. So we started a new process, Department of Development did, where they did an initial parish-wide windshield survey of all the properties. So they visited all the property. They didn't just inventory it. They also graded it on a scale to identify, is it slightly blighted or severely blighted? So what we found was that there were pockets of blight that we didn't even know about. So maybe there's a level of blight apathy where the residents just didn't call about it. Maybe it was in more of the rural areas. Well, now we have a better understanding. That data now helped identify 150 of the most blighted properties so that we can begin the lengthy remediation process on those properties. And from there, we're going to follow up with more strategic surveys to continue updating the results. And real briefly, you won't be able to see these numbers unless you're in the first row. So in 2017, we transitioned to a modern enterprise resource planning system. That's our financial and HR system. Came from a 30-year-old mainframe system. And we knew that we were going to have to reevaluate a lot of the decisions that were made when we implemented the ERP system. We were getting a lot of complaints that it takes too long to pay the vendors. What we were using data, we were able to determine that that wasn't necessarily the case. Once an invoice was entered into the system, a check is created in less than 4 days, which is pretty good, especially for a municipality. We continue to look at the data. The problem wasn't in the invoice to check, it was in the requisition process. So we enter in a requisition, goes through workflow, and either a PO or a contract is created. At that point, the vendor can start invoicing us. Well, if they don't have that document, that's what was the big holdup. So what we see up there, again, using the data, we looked at the workflow process. It is extensive, but it needs to be that way because there's a lot of checks and balances built in. But we were able to adjust those rules to improve the amount of time that it takes to get from a requisition to a PO or a contract. So in January, we made one change in December of last year and another change in January, and we went down from averaging 21 days from requisition to PO contract down to 15. That's 7 days improvement. Still working on adjusting one other pain point there, but that's pretty good. 1 year we were up at 28. I think in 2019 we were looking at an average of 28 days. So proud to say that the team was part of that, and it was all data driven. That team is also responsible for community outreach. So remember now how many people did not raise their hand when I asked about Open Data BR. Again, we've been doing this for 10 years, and we know that we struggle with just making sure the public is informed of all of these tools. That's all freely available. We're not monitoring who's using it. We just want people to use it. So we continue to do outreach efforts. Speaking at engagements like this, thank you to the Rotary for this opportunity. Help out. We've spoken at church groups, homeowners associations, technical groups, many public events. Our next public event is GIS Day. every, was it third Wednesday, second Wednesday, somewhere around that in November is International GIS Day. And so this year it's in November 15th, 6 to 8 at the main library, where we will have a WebEx virtual meeting connection as well as a live stream. So please tune into that. That's going to be more focused on the GIS side. And to wrap up, the Rotary four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all that's concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? Or will it be beneficial to all concerned? I really feel all of our transparency efforts really support all four of those points. Everything that I talked about today, brla.gov/transparency, that's the starting point for all of that on our website. If you go to brla.gov and search transparency, you'll hit that as well. The open data policy reports there. We have a strong social media presence. Every Tuesday we do what's called a Tech Tuesday campaign, where we're putting out some information about a dashboard or a data set or a new video that we have on the Data Academy. Or for this month, because it's Cybersecurity Awareness Month, we have every Tuesdays about cybersecurity, because we've really taken a community approach about cybersecurity. And I'm going to get on my soapbox for just a second, because it's not just about what we're doing in city parish to protect your data. It's the entire community that has to realize the threats that exist on the online world, and do your part to secure your own data, because we don't want you to get identity theft or worse, if you're a small business, impacted and potentially go out of business because it's that big of an impact. So please, you Google on the cybersecurity side, or talk to me after. I can certainly point you in the right direction. isoutreach@brla.gov is the email address that you can reach out to if you see something that's wrong with the data, if you want more information, anything at all, please email that. We are very responsive to that email address. And that is, I don't know if I made it in my allotted time, but that's what I have. 2 minutes. 2 minutes for questions. Yes, ma'am.
Do you have individual property tax assessments?
Yes, that's the tax roll. So we worked with the assessor. So cool thing there was that the assessor was the first assessor in Louisiana to put his data out in this format. Anybody else?
Are you working with LSU's cybersecurity group?
So yes, we have on-again, off-again partnerships with LSU, both on the data analytics side, but yes, also that we've started to work with them on cybersecurity, because we know that they have a big space in that, and it continues to grow. Yep. Anybody else? All right, thank you all.